All right. And South Dakota.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Awesome. How are you today?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Oh, I am not bad. Not bad at all. Thanks for asking. And for the world, I would like everyone to introduce yourself. So let us know who you are.
Well, my name is Vanessa Rojas. I go by Kumu V. Kumu is actually Hawaiian. My background is Hawaiian and Filipino. I'm Hapa, which is mixed. So, like growing up, my grandmother was Kumu, so it just means teacher. I just wanted to incorporate my culture as well into what I do. But I own a Muay Thai gym out of Garland, Texas, which is outside of the city of Dallas, but we're considered the Dallas area. Um, yeah, in Texas, if you don't know where Dallas is.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, Pete highly recommended that I get you on this podcast. He thought the world needs to know who you are.
Aw, he's something else too, though. I love him. I'm just not the best in front of cameras, but I appreciate his love.
Yeah, he recommended you. He said you are an awesome instructor and you're a great official.
Oh, thank you. Oh, where is he? You gotta tell him thank you.
Right. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Um, so what inspired you to train Muay Thai?
Ah, the magical question. So when I originally decided to seek out some form of actually like a form of self-defense, my motivation was actually because I was in a domestic violence relationship, and I was even though you leave those situations, they still follow you, like they personally they still follow you, and the things that go with it. And I just wanted um, just something to give me a little more confidence on getting away, from it all. I wasn't expecting to like fight or anything like that, or necessarily even fight back, but at least fight enough to get away, And I actually found a gym. It's George Pavelski's gym out in Irving, Texas, which is also kind of the outskirts of Dallas. He's actually more boxing based and Dutch style Muay Thai.
Okay.
Muay Thai wasn't even in the thoughts, right? So it was just about, okay, let me get these private lessons with him. So for 2 times a week, and I'm just a kid. I'm like 20 years old, 19, 20 years old. And I'm like, okay, I can do private lessons with them 2 times a week. And that got really expensive. And when you're that young, you do some things, and I couldn't afford it anymore. And he's like, well, did you know that if you take my class, you can do it as many times as you want during the week, and it's the same price as your two privates that you do, or your single private that you do. And I was like, really? He goes, but the only catch is you're gonna have to kick. I was like, oh, kick. I was like, oh man. Okay. And I giggled a lot, right? Because you just feel this overwhelming, like, oh, I feel so stupid. But he was like, you're very talented. You're strong. You just don't realize it yet. And so I started training with him maybe so we did that for maybe about 2 months. And
Okay.
then when I started doing his actual classes, I would say we were only doing it for another month and a half, 2.5. And he's like, well, look, I did something and I don't want you to be mad. I signed you up for this fight. Right? And I'm like, excuse me. He goes, I want you to just feel that you are going to be okay if somebody hurt you or is going to hit you. And so he puts me up on my first fight. I've only been training for like a little less than a year, like 6 months max
Okay.
altogether, literally. And I mean, he's such a great teacher. And he's like, just, I want you to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. I was like, oh man. So like I'm training for this fight. I'm just like on survival mode, right? So we get into this fight. And this girl has been doing Muay Thai. She came out of I believe Houston. I remember her name was Rebecca. This was so long ago. I don't know if you guys understand how old I am, but this was so long ago. And she had fought 9 times already. He's like, you'll be fine. So obviously I didn't win on points because I didn't understand the game. I didn't understand how to win, but I survived it, and I actually kind of hurt her more than she hurt me, if that makes sense. Like, she was
Yeah.
I don't wanna brag about it. I don't know if she even still knows who I am, but she, like, ended up with, like, a concussion afterwards, like, throwing up and vomiting after. And he's like, "See? You're fine." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh," so and it was actually like a Muay Thai, kind of modified Muay Thai kickboxing, is what it was. We didn't elbow or anything like that.
Okay.
And that made somebody see me that was in the Muay Thai community who suggested I go to another gym that was just straight Muay Thai. And then that's how it all started. So when I moved from the Irving area, I ended up moving out to like Plano, which is where this teacher was. So I started training under him. I don't really say his name because I'm not too fond of him. Um, he once was a really great teacher. I have my opinions about him now, so I won't give him that recognition by saying his name. But however, he was such a great teacher then, I mean, and I tell this to my students too, it's not always the teacher's responsibility to make sure to get you where you need to be. It's your responsibility as well. And I trained
Yeah.
at least 6 times a week or 6 days a week, multiple hours a day. So, that I believe that's part of the reason why I was where I ended up, and how I elevated in Muay Thai. But yeah, and that's just kind of where it led me. So this was back in 2000. I started in 2003, or that fight was in 2003. So it was a little before then, but it was like yeah. Now we're 2024. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
that just made me feel old.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I
but it's a good
I
thing. I'm always telling people, I'm like, they're like, "Oh my god, how old are you?" I'm like, you know, it's the Muay Thai. We'll just call
yeah,
that the fountain of youth. Like staying fit and active and involved. It'll keep you that way. Start getting
absolutely.
lazy, it'll show.
Yeah. Well, I actually took a fight last year specifically just to force myself to maintain my fitness level.
Very cool. Nice.
So I
I'm
feel
like,
you.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
How are your bones after all of that?
Actually, it was fine. It was fine. I hadn't fought in over, oh geez, 15 years, I think.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it went pretty well. I'm actually jumping back in again this year. So just because I want to keep myself at that fitness level. So
Yeah, it's
if
a
I
whole
keep,
nother level.
yeah,
People don't realize the caliber, especially when you grew up in that kind of level and you're seeking for somebody to like touch it. You're like, it's not enough. Do more. And you
right,
just kind of like, let me calm down. Because it's hard. It really is. It's a tough there's one thing to be in shape and then there's fighter shape.
yeah.
A whole nother level. Yeah.
But it feels so good though.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. It gives you an extra boost of confidence on top of your confidence, I guess.
Absolutely. So on your as you progressed in fights, what would you say your personal fight style was? Because I noticed that on your site, you seem to specialize in Muay Famir and the Muay
Mm,
Cow.
yes. So being from coming from a gym that is very Thai based. We did a lot of clinching and kneeing, so it became just bread and butter. But I'm also southpaw, so that I had to use a lot of my fight IQ, learning how to move, how to change directions on people. Because I am a different visual for somebody else, so I feel like I have an upper hand, like most southpaws do, because typically you'll find a southpaw in front of a conventional person in front of another conventional person, but it's very rare that you see a southpaw, or if you end up being as a conventional person with a southpaw. So we've got like the upper hand in it, and just throughout the years, and also through teaching, I teach a lot, but I teach conventional a lot because most of my students are right-handed, and so I hit them with secrets all the time, like with movement and footwork. I've always found that very similar to like dancing. Growing up, I did Polynesian dancing. So,
Okay.
like, to me, Muay Thai was always like dancing. I liked it to be beautiful. I liked it to be very technical. I liked that about Muay Thai. I don't like, I would, you know, I always say the order technique, technique, speed, power, or you can go technique, power, speed, but technique should be first, right?
Always.
Because anybody can do something really fast and anybody can hit something really hard, but it doesn't mean they look pretty doing it, or that doesn't mean they did it good, you know? But if you have technique, you can add speed and power to that. It's even better, you know? So I'm very I like that about it. Um my gym is very Muay Thai too, because my husband actually that's his bread and butter. Like,
Okay.
yeah, as the woman and a wife, a good one at that. Um, I make sure I allow him to have that. You know, like I'm good at it, but I say this is my husband's deal. You know, so incorporating both our styles, coming from two different gyms, you know, we've created this hybrid in our school, and it works out really beautifully. You know, so
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, I think just being southpaw, I feel like if you don't have that Muay Thai, you're missing out on what you have already been given as a natural element, you know, of
Yeah.
surprise for anybody. So I feel like if you're not doing that as a southpaw, add it add it to your itinerary, you know, your artillery. Um,
You'd enjoy training at my gym. I have several southpaw fighters.
Yeah, we have a couple as well. So it's always fun to like go conventional and then and then switch it over to Southpaw so that way they can see what they need to be doing. And then all the, you know, everybody who's right hand is like, wow, you know. But I always get my favorite thing is like my husband and I share days as far as training. So I sign him Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and I'm Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. And a lot of people sometimes they tend to skip out of my classes. I don't know, maybe they're afraid of my class, but that when they end up in my class, I love it when they hit me with the excuse, yeah, but I'm left-handed. Oh, that's fine. Like, so am I. You know, and they're like, they
Right?
don't realize I'm southpaw as well. Like, I'm happy to show you in southpaw. I rarely get to do this, you know. So it's a nice perk for the gym being able to utilize stuff both ways and look like I do both. You know, but I'm very much comfortable with southpaw more than anything. You'll see me start that way.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you're training fighters, um, and you see that, how do you, from your perspective, decipher what their personal style would be, and then how do you train them to adapt to that?
You know, I give them just the key stuff, right? The main things are don't don't stand there like a tree because that turns you into a punching bag. Keep your hands up, and then make sure that you're not doing that basics will win fights, right? That you're not
Yeah.
doing too many fancy things because you know that cool little five punch combo thing that you did the other day, that was good times, yeah, and we sweat, but don't try to utilize that when it's not something you've been working, right? So trust in the things that you've been drilling, and whatever you were adjusted to refine your style on it, do it. You know, don't worry about doing it a style like the way Bob over here on the left does it, or Karen over there on the right, you know. Stick to you the whole time. Always be you. Don't ever copy the person across from you. You know, so we just kind of go off of that. And then as coaches, you know, we always remember, okay, this is his niche. He likes to do this. And sometimes, you know, they forget to do it because they're just like, oh, especially when they're new, what should I do next? And they're like, do that thing you do, you know, and then all of a sudden it'll trigger like this drill that they did with it, you know. And that's something that we always tell our students, when you start liking something, keep that in your artillery because it could come in handy, and it's something that you're comfortable with. Always do things
Yeah.
that you're comfortable with, not don't get fancy, you know, unless that's what you've been doing, you know, then it makes sense. But,
Right.
you know, like I always tell them, you know, like you normally see people get knocked out with a rear kick, you know, or a cross or a strong jab, a straight knee. It's not anything fancy, you know, like it's
Yeah.
very rare unless you're giving them like an element of surprise and they did like a spinning such and such on you, whatever. But, you know,
It's true.
yeah.
I had a champion. I asked him once. I said, how do you place your achievements? What do you owe your success to?" He said, simple 4 count combinations. That's
Right.
it."
Yes. Basics wins fights, guys. Just don't forget that. Just look
Um,
pretty doing it if you can.
right. So in your training, when not just yourself, but also when you're training fighters, how important do you see cross training, and what are your preferences for cross training?
So when it comes to Muay Thai, like if they're out of country, out of state, or if they're on business trips, I always tell them to hit up another Muay Thai gym. They should, they should continue their training wherever they are. Otherwise, they'll get stagnant. And it's good to see. It's actually great. It's great to see other gym styles and be open to learning it. And maybe there's something that day, that somebody said that you don't hear from me because you're not listening in class. Because look, as a coach, this happens. You will say, you want to make sure that you step forward at an angle to throw that kick, right? You will say that all day. They come to my gym, I'll say the same thing and they'll go, oh, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So I love when my students go to other gyms and they hear the things I say in somebody else and it clicks there. Because then when they come back to me, they'll remember it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
sometimes they don't always hear what you say or want to hear what you say. They're exhausted, whatever. Or it goes in one ear, not the other. But this guy looks super cool. I liked his tattoo and I remember his tattoo. Now this tattoo guy is saying, step forward at an angle. I'm going to step forward at an angle now. And
Yeah.
that's cool. It benefits you in my gym as a fighter. I'll freaking take it. I have no problems with it. As far as like cross training other styles, I don't mind it if you're not competing. I think it's good. I think everybody should try as many different forms of uh, combat as they can or exercise as they can.
Yeah.
But if they're deciding to be in season for committing to Muay Thai, they should be doing Muay Thai. You know what I mean? I do like when they go for strength and conditioning training outside of the gym. If they're not doing it in our class enough, or maybe our times for like we have a class called Thai 30 Fitness. Um, if our times don't work for you and early mornings do, and you decide to go to a gym and do CrossFit, cool. Just be careful as far as like injuries go. Don't do things that in bad form, obviously, because you'll probably get hurt. But if you're like to a personal trainer who's showing you how to use the equipment and is with you and helping and guide, absolutely. I want you to do that. You know what I mean? I want you to be stronger. I want you to be faster. Whatever helps you in my gym is always good, but if it's contradicting what we're doing, don't do it.
Yeah.
At least not before a fight. You know what I mean? Now, if you're not fighting, you're not in season to fight, fighting's not on your agenda, do everything that you can. You should be working on staying healthy, bettering yourself in some form or a manner. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but I always tell the fighters, if you plan on fighting for us, make sure you're sticking to Muay Thai and make sure you're sticking to the plan because you don't want to go off the path too much. Whatever complements what you're doing is what you should be doing. Um,
Yeah.
Contradicting it,
100%.
right? Right. Don't
Yeah.
do jujitsu and be like, well, I got jujitsu 3 times a week, but I really want to do this fight. Well, wait, can you do Muay Thai 5 times a week still and do jujitsu? If you can't, then you're not fighting. But please still continue doing jujitsu. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you're not going to fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Yeah. It was funny you said that. I had one of my students on Monday. He's like, "Wow, did you see the way that he was angling the decal this way and angling it like this?" And I was like, "Huh, yeah, looks kind of familiar."
Looks
And he's like,
familiar. Sounds familiar. What you're saying. Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "Oh shoot, that is what you say, isn't it?"
Yeah. That's my favorite. Like our boys, we have like a group chat on Instagram because apparently everybody has an Instagram account. So I can reach out to our fighters a lot easier that way. And we're all in a group and they'll like share a video of something that maybe we even did like a couple days ago, and they're like, check this out. And I'm like, oh, okay. I think they did this in their class yesterday and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, they did. We did that last week, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then like the other fighters are chiming in, like, yeah, somebody didn't show up to class or listen, and I love that when they do that because they do it for me. I don't have to do it anymore.
Right.
I do it for the newbies, like the new ones that want to compete. We do. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but the Muay Thai Development League. So
No.
yeah, it should be out. It should be coming out into that area pretty soon, out
Okay.
in the Ohio area. So look for it. Yeah, but I know that they do it like Delaware and out there in Maryland. I don't know how close you are to that, but it's
About
called the
8
Muay
hours.
Thai Development League. We call it MDLs.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a baby step, or even a way for you to just kind of feel how you're doing in training. No, I don't really want to fight, but I want to see how I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's very safe. So my competitors that are trying to do that like have to be told these things a lot, you know? And now I have like my little minions that do it for me, like, didn't you hear Kumu? Blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, we're finally at that point. This is awesome, you know? Because I remember like banging my head on the wall, like, did you? How many times I have to say this? Yeah, but it's nice to see that at least it interests them. You know, like okay, maybe you missed class, or maybe you weren't really paying attention like you should have been, but that's what we did. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of being a teacher? What's the most rewarding part of that?
Ah, okay. I think I've said this time and time again. Watching people grow and develop, especially children, right? So I teach the kids class, and watching them grow from like adolescents to teenagers to like adults has been um, um a trip for me, you know, because we used to be the same size, and then they're taller than me, and now they've got tone in their voice, you know. And you're just like, dang, now they're an adult, you know. What? You just got married, you know. It's insane to see growth. That's my favorite thing, is seeing people grow, or they've left because they're you know they're in that time in their life where they wanted to do this or that, or get married and have children, and they come back with their children and their wives, and you're just like, wow, this is amazing, you know. Just watching people is my favorite, you know, is their development and the things that they've gone through in life and how they've changed, or you know, or they went bad and then they flipped themselves, or you know what I mean. Or
Yeah.
I like seeing my students develop their development and in everything, you know, life,
Yeah.
the gym, all of it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my
I
favorite.
was I was a couple years ago, I was the best man at one of my old students' weddings.
Oh
Uh,
wow, yeah.
yeah.
That's cool, right?
He lives out in Nebraska now, and I was like, "Huh, this remember when I used to put your bicycle in the back of my vehicle, and then
And take me to the gym.
we get a burger, and I take you home?"
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that? I love that. I
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
cool. It's an interesting question. Most gyms now are just to create extra income, are doing a
Mhm.
ton of different things in their gyms, but you're uniquely Muay Thai in your gym. So
Yes.
it's you seem to have a very cool secret sauce to it. So
Um,
how do you do it? How do you maintain it just being a Muay Thai gym and yet obviously greatly successful? You have a great following, uh, great system
um,
set up.
man, I mean, obviously a lot of work. Yeah, that's a lot of, I think a lot of people miss that too, is that there was a lot of pro progress there. You know, you know, they always show you the iceberg, you know, the little iceberg thing. Like everybody sees that. Everybody wants that. Some people see the bottom, ignore it, but only see the top, you know? And
Yeah,
that bottom half of that iceberg is where that secret sauce is. And it's just about effort and commitment to it, dedication to it, and finding things in it that can grow out and you know can be the seed that roots out into other things that still keep you there, you know, like with we have like a women's organization called We Muay Thai. You know, with what I dealt with, I didn't want my whole objective of that was I don't want somebody who went through what I went through to do Muay Thai because of that. I want them
right.
to do it before anything like that ever happens to them, you know, like as a preventative, you know, start something now, you know, whatever it is, you know, like go to a gun range and practice learning how to shoot better, you know, or do jujitsu, do something. You should be doing something, you know. So I created this program where it's affordable for women to train in Muay Thai. I have specific days just for them to train if they're like uncomfortable training with men. Um, and for like first responders, for instance, you know, like you have police officers. I'm sure they go to the gun range, but I've in my area, and I'm in Dallas too, right? I don't
Okay.
see too many fit women or physically fit women that I would consider like athletic or like could handle situations. It's very rare that you see those. Um, and being like, hey, this is for you and it's free to you. I want you to do this. Look at your job, woman needs
Yeah.
something like this, and I want to give it to you for free. So I created that to kind of grow that as well. And we have a few women who do it on the down low, and that's how they would like to keep it, and I love that for them. I'm here for them on that behalf. But I think it's important that they see that it's usable, you know. I always try to tell people Muay Thai is not self-defense. It's a form of self-defense. It's something you can throw in your artillery and say, I can use this if I need it. You know what I mean? Have something. It's like a pocket knife that you just open envelopes with. Do you know how
Yeah.
to use your knife? You know, like, you got it should be something that, you know, you have that you can use that's muscle memory for you, because you might not have weapons for yourself, but you have your hands, you have your own physical body, and that's always going to be there for you, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so we use that to provide out. I made sure to educate myself as far as an official. You know, I saw like I saw Christina Pederef. I always say her name wrong. She hates me for that. But I love you if you're watching this. But X is her nickname. I saw a picture of her, you know, because I was doing YDLs, which are youth development leagues, and it was originally hosted by the USMF, which is now USA Muay Thai. And I wanted to provide that for my gym. You know, I wanted to provide that for my community because Dallas Fort Worth is not like Houston and Austin and San Antonio. They are on their stuff.
Yeah.
DFW, oh my God, it's like banging your head on a wall, like, hello, hello. If you guys don't show up, you're not going to keep up with the times, man. Let's get involved, you know, start doing things. And so like I wanted, oh, here comes my dog. I'm sorry. I wanted I wanted that to be the baby. Will you take this thing? Sorry.
Okay.
We just got a new puppy and she's like all over the place. But
That's cool.
I wanted that route too. You know, I wanted to comprehend keeping like keeping fighters safe, and how do they get judged and how do they score, and the way I did that was I actually jumped into one of Pete's courses. You know, he was doing these intensives over like 3 days. Wow, there better be some serious things going on. It made me think of like, have you ever worked in the service industry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course, right? We're in that time frame. So where like they make you role play and you're doing days before you
Yep.
even get paid, before they decide to put you out on the floor or behind the bar, you know, you're like, we're not putting you out there till you practice all this stuff, right? I was like, I wonder if it's gonna be like that, you know? And I had that mentality, like it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be very detail oriented. So I decided to register for it. And man, like I knew I was getting, and I knew I comprehended what I needed to comprehend as an official, you know, practicing roughing for like the YDLs and stuff. And at the beginning, MDLs when they were both kind of involved with each. But when I took that course, it like opened so much of my mind, not only as an official, but as a coach, as a fighter, like made me think back on fights when I was like, dang, that's why I lost that fight, you know, like really thinking about it. And then seeing in my mind also why my own students may have lost fights, you know, and I was like, that makes a whole lot of sense. So it opened up a whole nother visual, right? So that was another route too, keeping me involved still in Muay Thai, you know, and then linking up with WBC. And so I'm also the supervisor for the state of Texas. I'm one of the supervisors. So myself and Chadwick Turner are the supervisors for Texas for WBC Muay
Nice.
Thai. And then Bobby Peak is he's the one that's the representative of our state.
That's
So like
awesome.
staying involved with, you know, when those fights happen in our state, which by the way has never happened until we actually got involved. So like there was no full rules Muay Thai in the state of Texas until just last year.
Oh, wow.
And that was through the WBC Muay Thai. So, yes.
That's awesome.
But
That's
I mean,
impressive.
living in this state for as long as I've lived and competing as long as I have, man, that felt really good to be a part of. Even though I couldn't be in the ring to be a part of it, I helped that happen, and that feeling was like, holy crap, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like no freaking way. Finally,
Right.
when I fussing and fighting with TDLR, which is the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, now we're working with them and we're listening to their input and okay, let's do it. Whatever you need us to do, we're down. And that's what I love about the WBC Muay Thai is the organization's so open book to learning and doing things and incorporating and collaborating and integrating. So staying involved in that sense as well, also wanting to be a part of other organizations is important. People are so stuck on, oh, I only want to do these.
Yeah.
Technically, I only want my students to compete in Muay Thai. I don't want them doing kickboxing. I don't want them doing no offense to anybody who does these PMTs, straight Muay Thai. So that way, that's what they're training. That's what they're going to do. But as far as organizations that hold Muay Thai events, I want my students to go to all of them. I want them to be involved in all of them. Now, I want to learn all of their regulations. So um, I'm going to be signing up for like USA Muay Thai. They have a
Yeah.
seminar that has, yeah, they have this awesome seminar that's about to happen. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm going to have to practice it. But he's coming in and he's one of Pete's instructors as well. So I definitely want to jump in on that seminar during their nationals that they're holding in Delaware.
Oh,
So,
nice.
just being involved really is how I keep that, keep our gym traditional and keep not necessarily traditional, strictly Muay Thai. Because I mean, we are a hybrid if you think about it. My husband's gym style, my gym style, and then we curled it into this one. And now all of our students are what we are. Anybody who comes out of our gym has something very special. It's not just one teacher's point of view. It's two very substantial teachers' point of views. It's not like, not to say that it would be like, not to say that my fighters that are teaching classes aren't substantial enough. They're not as experienced, right? They haven't been holding and hosting and fighting for this person for so long. So now my husband's got this embedded in him. I've got this embedded in me. And now we're putting it into our students. And now you're this. So
Yeah.
this down here underneath us is a whole crazy creation, and I think sometimes they're so spoiled that they don't realize how unique they are. And that's part of the sauce, is
That's
that
awesome.
my husband and I can agree, and we can also agree to disagree. We disagree a lot on stuff. we tend to disagree on a lot of stuff, but that's what makes it work is that, hey, you get multiple ways to do this. You know what I mean? It's not just, hi, baby, here, go with, sorry, my granddaughter,
No,
go
you're
with
okay.
mama. You try to find a quiet space. It never happens. I like
Right.
it. But
I understand.
yeah, there's that. It's just really staying involved in what you want to keep the focus on. I want to keep the focus on Muay Thai. So I stay involved in things that have to do with Muay Thai.
Yeah.
And I don't just stay in one thing. I try to incorporate different places. I love being international. When I go on vacation or if I'm doing business, I'll jump into somebody else's gym and I'm a cleat. What do you want me to do? You want me to do a spinning back kick thing, whatever? Sure. I have no problem with doing whatever is being taught because you'd be surprised. Not that I would ever do a spinning back kick thing, you know, but maybe something he said or did is beneficial to me, and always being open minded to how other people teach, how other people learn, other people's techniques. It might not work for you, but something that they do might work for you. There's always one thing
Yeah.
if you're paying attention like you should. There's always one thing you can take from somebody when you visit. So like just being an open book everywhere I go is also a thing. And
That's
I
cool.
think that's really important, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because I actually forced myself, kind of in the same vein, I forced myself to teach different ways and different methodologies. So like, uh, there's 4 styles I teach throughout the month. I do Muay Mat, Muay Thai, Muay Cow, and Muay Famir. Each week has its own methodologies, and so I try to sprinkle that throughout each one of the weeks of the month, so that way it forces me to be able to teach all the different, styles and ways of teaching. So
Yeah.
I uh, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah. I
learn from
mean,
other
it's good for you. And, like we have this whole month in December. We call it Dirty December.
Okay.
And we've been doing it for years, right? So it's where we clean up everybody's dirty habits, and bring them back straight back to basics. The whole first week is straight hands. The whole second week is straight kicks, and the whole last week is knees and elbows, right? And then obviously the last week of December is Christmas, so we close the gym at that time. But is really focusing on basics and sorry, my son.
Oh, you're fine.
um, is focusing on basics and understanding that like you've got to clean this stuff up before you can do all this other stuff.
Yeah,
You're not going to be more without the basics of movement. How do you need to stand? Like if you don't know the basics of your Muay Thai stance, how do you think you're going to be able to move around?
yeah,
Or being a Muay Mutt, how do you expect to be a good Muay Mutt if you can't even throw a jab properly? It's like you're throwing candlesticks in the air. You know what I mean? Like you it's basics is what everybody should hold important anytime you do any kind of sport, any kind of physical activity, even basic reading, right? We have to know our alphabets in order to read. That's
yeah.
basics, right? So like people lose that importance all the time. And so we bring them back to reality in December and we just torture them. You are doing nothing but punching. Oh, this jab is a whole hour's worth? Yeah, it is. You're gonna continue doing it. but
That's funny.
but yes, but like I was saying, back to like the basics and stuff is it's just important.
Yeah, that's cool. And it sounds like you get to travel. I think you were just traveling just recently.
Yeah, I just got back from Thailand. Um, yeah, we were there for about 2.5 weeks. My son Kaleo, he competed as a 44 kilos for the 13 to 14 year olds or 12 to 13 year old bracket.
Oh, that's awesome.
I won silver worlds. Yeah, so he fought against Mauritius and Japan. Good fights too. Japan, by the way. So our
Yeah,
goal is next year, if we get somebody from Japan again, is to beat them. Like we got to be prepared for that Japanese style. That Japanese style is crazy, um, fast, crazy fast. Like you,
really
yeah, they're good. I love it.
awesome.
Shouts out to them. Yeah, they were killing it at the WBC event. So I think they had eight, uh, eight, eight of them came from Japan, and 6 of them placed gold, and 2 of them placed silver. So they all placed on the podium. Yeah, and so I
That's
was like,
awesome.
"Wow, rad. That's pretty rad." I
Yeah,
understand why you chose those 8. But
that's cool. Yeah, internationally, it's definitely a different kind of scene than what you always see in the U.S.
yeah, it is. Yeah, and it was a big deal too. There were close to 1,000 participants, right? And this was outside of Lumpini Stadium. There were 5 rings going on outside, and it's hot. Um, and everybody's trying to get inside Lumpini. So what happens is once you make it to the championship bouts, you get to fight inside Lumpini Stadium's ring. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's a huge goal for a lot of these kids and adults. And they're suffering for like 3 days straight outdoors trying to get in that get in that ring. And it's insanely hot out there. We were shaded, well protected, so gladly none of us were getting sunburnt like Pete normally would. But but it was still very humid. You sweat and then your skin is soaked. There is no like dryness to help dry out the sweat. You're just constantly like just wet, when you're out there. And Yeah, it was a really great experience to see how many countries are out there competing for this, and it was really cool. I loved that. I loved that. That was awesome.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and then back, our student had a fight, so we flew back in on the 9th, and our student had a fight in Houston on the 10th, right? So normally during the day, driving down to Houston is about 4 hours, 4.5 hours. But in the middle of the night, it was like a quick 3.5 hour drive, depending on how fast you drive. And so we landed on the 9th, unpacked some of our bags, and then jumped in our truck and drove to Houston immediately after. So when we were there, I felt like I was drunk and I don't drink. I'm like, where are we? Everybody's like, when did you guys get here? I was like, last night. They're like, oh no, when did you guys get back from Thailand? I was like, last night. Yeah,
Ooh,
that was fun. But
ooh,
so
yeah,
we traveled there right after and then came back. So that was a rough one, but it was for the sake of Muay Thai.
yeah.
Yeah, it was actually another historical thing for Texas is that youth they're not allowed to do full Muay Thai contact. It was never sanctioned, meaning like they got to actually fight in a ring, full Muay Thai rules. And when it might, so there were only four youth participants. So two of them were about, I think they were 9, and then the other two were 16. And above the age of 14, they can have head contact, right? So
Okay.
at the age of 16, they can elbow. So my student was one of those 16-year-olds. So we had to make that happen, or else it wasn't going to be available to Texas. So if that
Okay.
event didn't happen with those kids, there wouldn't be a future. So that they were the reasons that now will be future events for youth.
Oh
So
man,
we
you
had to make
go.
that that's why we made that trip. It was an important half-hour drive. It needed to happen. So,
That's
yeah, and she
awesome.
ended up winning. Yeah. All kinds of elbows. She made me proud. I was like, "Make sure you throw elbows because that's what you're allowed to do. You know that, right?" She's like, "Yeah." She's so cute.
That's a
But
way to power through that jet lag.
yeah, just she was my inspiration, like if she didn't work so hard to do it, I would be like, no, we're not doing that. We're not signing up for it. We can't. Sorry. But I was like, it needs to happen. Texas need to have it available. So
Yeah,
let's, like I said, get involved in what your my main focus is Muay Thai. So if
yeah,
we didn't participate in that, there wouldn't be this available. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, we've had similar issues getting it established in Ohio. So
Yeah, I bet.
Pete's helped with that.
Yeah, I'm sure he has,
Yeah,
I think those, the courses are so reassuring too, is that um, people are being taught properly of protocol and detail things that are necessary. And, those small details are important. Um, and most of these people that attend these are fighters, coaches, or they used to be fighters, and so detail is something that they look for.
yeah,
And, when you do a course like that that's so intricate and detail oriented, it you will pick up and learn really good stuff, and important things, and it makes you look even more professional because you pick up on those things more than something that just skims through it. You know, let's
yeah,
skim through it. You got to have that quick. Okay, this is the breakdown. Okay, you got it. Good. And you've got the points, and we hope that you succeed. Like,
right.
or we hope that you have enough IQ to figure it out. And not everybody does. Some people need that extra. And some people want that extra. Like, I want that. I want to know as much as I can. And
That's
so
good.
it's
Have you
important.
ever had trouble with butting heads with other officials, or do you for the
No,
most part
so
agree?
to be genuinely honest, I feel so new to it. I'm such a rookie. I would never do that. I think it's disrespectful because the ones that have so much more experience have been through so much. Um, just listening to what they have to say is important.
Yeah,
And I think that like if you can take in what somebody more experienced says to you and utilize it, and they see that you did, they respect you back. So there's no need for any headbutting. But a
Good.
lot of people have their like, this is how I do it, and this is how I do it, and you're not going to do it like me, and then they butt heads, and that's because they're too stubborn to go. Let me open up my mind to what you do, and let me try to incorporate some of that, and that's good for people, but not everybody thinks that way. So
Yeah.
I prefer not to butt heads with anybody. So I prefer to listen in and take in as much, you know, um, information that they have, or notes that they have, or any ideas, or something that they feel could have bettered me. I try to take it in.
That's very Thai of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're new to it. I've only been so I've done like the YDLs and the MDLs like since 2018, but I didn't take that course until 2022. The end of it, it was like, or no, it was actually the beginning. No, I lie. It was the end of 2022. And
Okay.
then, so from that point, when I took that course, my very first one, I always made sure to do refreshers if they were near me, um, and stay involved when I can, and do it, get the work in, practice. And it's, to me, that short amount of time is not enough to be like, even having the audacity to be like, you should do it like this, or I'm doing it my way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in general, I just don't feel that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah. There's a lot of
yeah, I'll never be
wisdom.
that way. I don't want to ever be that way, but
Yeah.
I know for sure right now I would never be that way, just because that doesn't make sense to me. Like, what are you doing? How are you gonna learn? You know?
Right. Yeah. That's
So-
wisdom. That's wisdom.
Oh, the 40s.
I feel you. Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't want to take up your whole day. This was an amazing interview. Thank you so much for your time. I fully
Thank you for
appreciate it.
giving me time. I appreciate you. That's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
I was like,
Thank
who, me?
Yeah, you. It's like again, fully endorsed by Pete. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, but yeah, it was actually great hearing, not just from you, but your story and everything you've been through and everything that your school contributes to the community and Muay Thai at large. So it was great hearing all of that, and it was great. I thank you so much.
No, thank you. I appreciate you listening.